What's up, you guys? This is JYoungGo2 back with another video, and in this video today, if you saw the title, then you already know I'm going to be discussing the Boston Celtics. And notice how I say that. Yes, the Boston Celtics. Man, you love and you hate the Boston Celtics, and I feel like this offseason there'll definitely be some big questions for them, but also looking at what happened, against the Miami Heat in general. Yes, the series is already over and it's past. I know I'm kind of making this video somewhat late, but the Boston Celtics have some questions they definitely do have to answer. And of course, one of the main ones first we have to talk about is Jason Tatum, because really for the Celtics, even going into this offseason, I'm pretty sure the best way to sum it all up is what can we do to make it best for Jason Tatum. Because we all know Jason Tatum is the Celtics' key player. He is that guy on this team. Jaylen Brown is extremely talented and he's really good, and at times he can play better than Tatum, but we all know that Jason Tatum is the dog, the guy on this team for the Celtics, and we all know that as well, that he wants Jaylen Brown to still be on the Boston Celtics. So we all know that the NBA had these new CBA rules coming in about another year or so, and the way that you can construct rosters and everything is going to completely change. You're not really going to have that as much depth on your team, especially when you take into account for the Celtics that they both, him and Brown, if Brown gets that extension, that because he made an All-NBA team, if he signs it and he stays on the Celtics, that's going to take up roughly 75% of their salary. And it's going to be really hard for them to actually go out and sign, quality role players. So this makes it even harder, because really this year, I believe, was definitely their year to compete for an NBA championship. This was their year to actually possibly win a championship with as deep of a roster they had, because as you all know, coming to the season, they had the Celtics winning the NBA championship, because I thought when they got Malcolm Brogdon and they acquired all these guys, it just made their team so much better. And Danilo Gallinari, even though he got hurt, it made this Celtics team so much better on paper. But the Celtics, man, they're not consistent. It's another thing we're going to talk about here. The Celtics, even throughout the regular season, even last year, of course, they started off the year, 25 and a 25 record, and then they go on this big run and flip the script and become one of the best teams, make it to the NBA Finals. They blew a league in the series against the Warriors. And then after that, in this year's regular season, they start off really good in the year. Then after that, they slowed down right after the All-Star break. Things just really, statistically speaking, especially got cold for them, and they started losing a lot more games and whatnot. And they go into the playoffs, and they go 6 games with the Atlanta Hawks team, a team that they should have definitely won in like 4 or 5. Up against a really good Philadelphia 76ers team, but they still go 7 games with them. And then they go, of course, into the conference finals against this Miami Heat team, go down 3-0. But the Celtics, they come back in the series, make it a series, going 3-3, a chance to possibly make NBA history. But of course, in the end, in Game 7, the game that mattered the most, Jason Tatum gets hurt on the first play of the game, literally for them on the Celtics in the offensive end, which definitely sucked and was pretty massive. But Jimmy Butler was also dealing with ankle issues as well. And then after that, Jaylen Brown, he has to step up and really play good, but he has 8 turnover shoots, 8 for 22 from the field. Tatum only has 14 points. Brown only has 19 points. And it was just a very disappointing game. And you can just tell the energy and effort with the Celtics. They weren't making their shots. If this was the regular season, in the postseason alone, they scored 122 points per 100 possessions, which would have ranked 5th behind Miami if this was in the regular season right now. Because the Miami Heat, of course, as we all know, just shocked the world, because offensively speaking, they were one of the worst teams in the league, and they just surprised everybody. But for both Brown and Tatum, Tatum, he was, of course, in that game. His ankle injuries definitely was kind of messing with him, and Brown had to carry more of the offensive responsibilities. In Brown's first 2 series, and against the Hawks and the Philadelphia 76ers, he shot 54% from the field in the first 2 rounds. But in this series against the Miami Heat, he shot terribly from the field, and as we all know, he turned over the ball many, many times. Brown and Tatum shot 18 for 90 from the 3-point line, which is 20% from the field, which is unplayable at that point. Watching this series, and especially the games that the Celtics did lose in, when they weren't playing well in the offensive end, that translated as well on the defensive end for them. They do a pretty good job in guarding Bam and Jimmy Butler in that series, but they failed, of course, especially the Derek White versus Caleb Martin matchup, as we all know. But the Miami Heat's bench, everybody stepped up in that series. As we all know, many people are saying that Caleb Martin should have deserved to win the Conference Finals MVP, and most rationally so, he should have. What matters really the most, especially with everything that I'm saying, you know, despite Jason Tatum's injury, and I can't take that out of the equation of what happened because that still played a factor in it, they still lost regardless. But Brown and Tatum both are two of some of the most inconsistent star players that I've seen in the NBA ever. You know, these guys have too much talent. And the part about all of this is that, yeah, we're all talking about Jaylen Brown possibly being a free agent and possibly moving on. But look at the situation that the Celtics are in. You know, they can rebuild around these guys for a long time. But the problem is, of course, now looking at it as well, the money. You know, they're not going to have any money to really go after the other good players. And this is really their big chance now to really do something, as I said before. Guys, there's some of the best young duos in the entire NBA, and they cannot really play in the big moments. And look, I get it as well. I think if Ime Udoka was still the head coach, I think this would be a totally different scenario. That's just my opinion personally, and I get what all happened. But looking at how that team was constructed in comparison to now, man, it's way different. And then, you know, I will give this, you know, Joe Mazzulla, you know, this is his first really true season as a head coach now for the Celtics, and he did not have all the time in the world to literally just figure out every single thing. And he doesn't really have a great coaching staff in general, you know, compared to what Ime Udoka had in his lineup. Definitely adding more veteran presence, especially on that team, I think will definitely help the Boston Celtics in the long run. But like we said before, there's many questions that still haven't been answered. Will Jaylen Brown actually re-sign for the Celtics? Will the Celtics possibly make any offseason moves this year? A lot of guys could have been utilized better on this team as well. I just think that this is the hardest thing ever for the Celtics because, you know, you have two of, like I said earlier, the best players, younger guys in the league on your team, all NBA players on top of that. And the problem is really they just cannot be consistent. That's really the main issue with this group. Let me know down in the comment section below on what you guys think should happen with the Boston Celtics and what will they do this offseason to make things better for this team. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos each and every single week. Have a great day. Peace.